Police in Vernon, Connecticut arrive at a home to investigate a parking dispute turned disturbance between a man and his neighbor. But when he doesn't want to talk to them because they're not listening to what he has to say and tries to retreat from the conversation into his home, they decide to take it upon themselves to make their way into his home. Let's talk about it. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Southern Draw Law. My name is James White, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, former police officer. So we have the channel that I got this video from is called Gary Pozzato. I don't know anything about Gary. I haven't talked to him. I just happened to see his video on someone else's channel, followed the breadcrumbs to the original video, and decided to watch it for myself. I generally don't try to watch the videos based on somebody else's analysis because I want to have an objective look at the actual facts before I come to a conclusion. So I went to Gary's channel. I watched the video for myself. So the background that I can tell is that you have these people that live somewhere close to him and their neighbors, and they are into it with Gary over the way that they park their vehicles and the way that he parks his vehicles, you know, like high value stuff for the cops, right? So essentially, he's outside trying to talk to the police, and it's obvious that their only interest is cop-splaining and not actually listening to him. So he decides he doesn't want to engage anymore, and he tries to go back in the house, and that's where everything sort of goes off the rails. So without further ado, let's check out Gary's video, and then we'll explain a couple things along
the way. All right, Gary, why don't you tell me what happened?
They have been harassing me for a couple weeks now. They had a party, pit fire party, a while back. They lined the street with cars. They blocked me in. I couldn't get out. That's parking A, parking B, multifamily. That's been here. I've been parking there since 1996.
All right, before we go too far, note that Gary's voice is very low. He's trying to keep his voice down. He has not alerted, I guess, or has not registered to him that they have no interest in helping him right now. They're trying to get him to incriminate himself by giving them too much information. Keep in mind, this is never a good idea. If they called and the police come to your house, don't give them a statement. There's no reason to give them a statement. By coming out and going back in, you give them an opportunity to, and I'm not trying to be hard on Gary here, I'm just saying for the people who aren't in this situation, who might in the future find themselves in a situation, there's no reason why you need to give them a statement. Now, if you called them, then it wouldn't make a lot of sense for you not to talk to them because you called them. But, you know, you could still take the position, hey, I called you to enforce the parking law. I can stand right here with my door shut and say, hey, look, that car's parked illegally. That's why I called you. Enforce it. If you're not going to enforce it, I don't have anything else to say to you. And then there's that barrier between the two of you. That's clearly not what happened. I don't know whether Gary called. I don't know whether the neighbor called. All I'm saying is that regardless of the circumstance, it's always a bad idea to give the police enough information to either A, decide that your story is not the one they want to lean into, or B, decide that they're trying to hem you up in some criminal prosecution. Gary's voice is low. It's obvious he's not trying to create a disturbance. It's obvious that he's not trying to draw attention to himself. That kind of leads me to believe that he may have been the one who called on them. But again, I'm probably assuming more than I should. I'm assuming based on the tone of his voice that he called and that he wanted to report them thinking that they were there in good faith to try to help him. Let's continue.
Okay, so what happened today?
Today,
yes.
These people have been literally terrorizing me.
Doing what?
Harassing me. They parked in the front. I have pictures. The man, Philip, has been this. I feel sorry for her.
Harassing how?
Well, they're blocking my driveway. Parking, whatever you want to call it. This parking, they're blocking this parking. And all I'm doing is preserving my rights by, what I've already contacted the Vernon Town Hall. I have appointments waiting to be scheduled with the town administrator.
Okay.
And the mayor.
So let me ask you,
okay.
What's the point of parking your car in front of their walkway?
Notice that the young officer to the right here has no interest in what he's saying. He's already preloaded questions Harassing how? Like, get to the story, buddy. He's not willing to listen to what this gentleman says at all, which tells me that he's already made his mind up, because we're going to find out very shortly. He's already talked to the neighbors. So let's continue.
What's that? Because
so you have a driveway
I'm going to
here.
show you. I'm going to show you right now. Come on back here, guys.
Who else lives here, Gary?
Don't start telling me what to do.
I'm
not telling you what to do. I just asked a simple question.
What's the question?
Who else lives here?
Me and my boys and my robot.
Boys?
Yeah.
They have cars?
I got 2 boys.
Do they have cars?
They don't have cars.
So you have a 200-foot driveway?
I use this, and I'm going to be using it because, see this?
Lawnmower?
No.
So what the police are doing here is they're engaging in some sort of moral judgment of him. Again, this is classic feelings enforcement. What they're doing is they're looking at themselves as if they're problem solvers. And my position is, you either tell people that you're not going to come out and resolve neighborhood disputes, or you enforce only the law. This idea that because he has a 200-foot driveway, he can't utilize the same legal protections that somebody else does. It's like they're imposing a reasonableness requirement on Gary. The problem is Gary doesn't have a reasonableness requirement. There's nothing under the law that says you have to park in a reasonable way. There's nothing under the law that says you have to park in your driveway. Maybe your driveway is in need of repair. Maybe your wife just died and she always parked in the driveway and you can't bring yourself to do it. The point is, you don't have to justify what you do with your life and your freedom to the police such that they think that it's reasonable enough that that passes their test. They're not the arbiters of what's right and wrong and reasonable. They're just people who are trying to enforce the feelings of someone else instead of the law.
Come on closer, guys. I want to get it on camera. Get over here.
Camera can see it.
Yeah? Let me turn on some lights so you can see it. Okay?
Oh.
You don't see this, but under that plywood is a big hole, and I need to refurbish this area. So that means I need to pull all this stuff and put it over there.
Okay.
And so what I'm doing right now is preparing.
Why'd you park in front of their house, in front of their walkway?
Oh,
That's
well,
what
this
he's
is a
asking.
different situation.
Okay, but I'm asking about this situation right now that we're dealing with.
They're blocking my driveway.
But I'm asking you why.
So I
why did
can't
you-
park in my driveway.
So when I-
Isn't that clear? No, hang on.
Don't get in my
Why
face.
am I not
Back
parking
up.
on my driveway? Because I
Back up.
can't get out of my driveway because they're blocking my
You have a
driveway.
clear open driveway right here.
And
Your bike is fine there.
no, they got
You
a
just-
driveway.
you just
Wait
told
a
me no one
minute.
else lives
They have a driveway. And they have decided, and they've told
Listen,
me
she's pregnant.
that
She's pregnant.
she's
walking around-
pregnant. Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so Officer Guerin here, who's a freaking 22-year-old know-it-all, thinks that he's going to tell this gentleman that because he parked in front of a sidewalk, now he's advocating for this lady because she's pregnant. Why did you do this? So it should have been obvious to Gary, and I think it's becoming obvious to Gary, that these guys are not here to help him. They're here to impose their judgment on him and enforce feelings for someone else. Again, they don't work for the ADA. They're not here to enforce building code or handicap access or any of that stuff. They're here to enforce the law. But you can't tell them that because it's all about ego and what they see through their subjective worldview as right, wrong, indifferent, reasonable, unreasonable, whatever. The point is they need to tell them both, hey, look, there's not a law that's been broken. There's no legal implication here. This dispute is civil. You need to take it up with each other, the civil processes, whatever it is. But this doesn't have anything to do with law enforcement. Because what happens is you get people that substitute their judgment and expect to project that onto Gary here. And Gary very clearly doesn't see the world the same way that smartass Officer Guerin here does.
Did you read the report yet? She said she's going to report. She's going to park there forever now. Every day she's going to park there.
All right, so let me ask you
Just
one
to
more thing. Hold
harass
on.
me.
Let me just ask you one more thing.
We're done.
What about you?
We're done. We're done. Get off my property.
You don't want to talk
Get off my property, all of you, right now.
Gary, why are you parking your vehicle there?
Why are you harassing me?
And when her,
Why are
when her
you
kids, when her
allowing
kids get out,
them?
When her kids get out,
Why are you allowing them to harass? You're harassing me right now.
Gary,
All three of you are harassing me.
For no reason.
And the mayor's going to hear about this.
Can I ask a question? Gary,
I'm done with you guys.
Why did you sound your alarm with the kids when they
Get off my property now.
Still investigating.
Violating my civil rights.
Okay, Gary made it very clear that he didn't want to talk to them anymore. He wasn't running back into the house. He is going back into the house. He's learned what we figured out the first time that the officer said, you have a 200-foot driveway. That should have told him right then this guy was already leaning the wrong direction. He should have ended it right there. But now they have violated the Fourth Amendment. They are standing with their foot in his doorway without a warrant, and listen to what they're going to tell him is the reason they're doing this.
They'll investigate.
Actually,
Gary,
Come on in.
you're going to get
question
arrested.
is, you're
Come on
going to
in.
You're
arrested.
detained
Answer
right
the
now
question.
for a
Answer
criminal
the question.
investigation.
Oh, Jesus.
Stop.
Answer the question.
Okay.
Answer the question.
What's the question?
Why did you park in front of their house and then sound your alarm when their kids got out of the
I don't know about any alarm.
She has it on
I have
recording.
it. She showed me
Well,
on
that's
video.
great. I don't know.
So, and you have a 200-foot driveway that you can't park
You have-
in?
And I can't use other
literally
driveways.
parked in front of her house.
No, you guys are violating.
You
my
can back
rights
your
right
car
now.
up
We're going
right
to
next
arrest
to
you
your
in a
bike.
minute if you don't answer the question.
You guys are violating my rights. We're going to arrest you in a minute if you don't answer the question. Do you think that that's a violation of the Constitution? I think so. So first of all, they don't like his speech. They don't like what he's saying. So they're going to arrest him because of what he's saying. And their excuse for arresting him, because they're not going to admit that they don't like what he's saying, and that's why they're going to arrest him. Their excuse for arresting him is that he won't answer their questions. So that's in violation of the Fifth Amendment as well, because obviously you don't have any obligation to answer the police officer's questions. And then they want to walk into his house and they're going to get him to forcefully answer questions under duress. And the grand materiality of their question is, why did you park there? Explain yourself to us.
The question is, what's your question again?
Why did you
Because
park?
Why is
right
my
there?
bike there?
Oh, no, because that's where you park there. That's fine.
blocking
That's
your
my
driveway?
parking
Why is your
area,
car
so
blocking
I
her
can-
sidewalk to
Why?
the house?
Because I'm allowed.
You're allowed to
It's
what?
allowed. I'm
What's
allowed to
You're allowed to block her
That
sidewalk,
is
just
a
like he blocked your
public-
sidewalk right here.
Well,
right?
you know what? It's
Gary,
considered.
just
I'm trying to
Answer the
help.
question.
You're not helping
Answer the
anything.
question.
They are harassing me.
You're harassing
That's
them
the-
by parking there.
Well, that's your opinion.
And sounding your
No,
alarm
that's
when
not
your
my
kids are
opinion. That
walking
is
Well,
the
by.
law.
that's
That
your
is the
opinion.
truth.
Come on in.
I'm already in.
Can I have my phone back,
All right,
please?
sure.
Thank you. Come on in. Come on in. All right. Yeah, see that? Yeah. See that, guys?
It's very obvious to anybody watching this that has two eyes and has ever even bumped into a law book at the library that this is a textbook civil rights violation. Gary should sue the absolute ass off of Vernon, Connecticut, and everybody on this scene should be fired and a named defendant in this lawsuit. Do you guys think there's any explanation that Gary could have given them? And you might be thinking, well, maybe he should have cooperated. I'm sure you're not thinking that if you're watching this channel, but let's just say, well, I might have just... Think about this for a second. Gary tried to be reasonable. He kept his voice low. He tried to explain the situation. He tried to explain why he did what he did. He even showed them that the driveway needed repaired, and that's why he was parking on the street. It's obvious to me, and it should be obvious to you, that there's not a single explanation that Gary could have offered them that would have satisfied their view of this situation to the extent that they would have been like, oh, I get it. I'll go over and tell her that and everything will be cool. No, these guys had their minds made up before they came into the driveway to get his side of the story. There was nothing he could do to explain things to them in a way that would have caused them to lean into his side. And in closing, when you have an encounter with a police officer, you should probably be thinking about it in a risk versus reward sort of analysis. Risk versus reward. What is the risk that I'm going to incur by giving them a statement? And what is my potential reward? And I say that because, if you get pulled over, you should know whether you were doing something to break the law. If a cop accuses you of speeding and you have a dash cam and you have a GPS and you meticulously set your cruise control and you never speed and all that stuff, fine. Push back, right? Fine. Because they're accusing you of something you didn't do. Because the risk versus reward is, I know what I did and I know what I didn't do. So at some point, he's going to have to either go all in on his bluff or he's going to have to acknowledge that he's bluffing because I know for sure that I wasn't doing this thing, right? Well, if you are speeding or you're driving like an idiot or your registration's expired or you're, whatever, or you caused an accident, whatever the situation, well, that traffic stop might be a little bit different, right? Because you know what you did and didn't do. If I get pulled over and I'm doing, and I know I'm speeding, well, I'm not going to give the officer pushback. I'm still going to record. I'm still going to, try to keep control of the interaction. I'm certainly not going to answer itinerary questions. I'm not going to let it go too far. But the point is, there are certain things that I understand I have to do. When you look at the totality here of everything that's happened, it should have been obvious to Gary that there was no reward to be had by further trying to explain himself. There was no thing that he could say that would cause the police officers to be like, yep, you know what, you're right. Okay. First of all, police officers don't generally do that, but the reasonable ones you can at least talk to. These guys, by pushing their way into the door and doing what they were doing by the time we're here, pretty obvious. There's nothing that you can do that's going to change their mind. When it comes to stuff like this, there's no value whatsoever. You should be able to read the room very quickly. Certainly the biggest mistake that he made was inviting them in. Now, they had already violated the Fourth Amendment. I don't think that really matters in the grand scheme of things. The foot was already in the door. They were already pushing their way in when he said, come on in. But that could be a situation where a jury says, well, you invited them in. That's consent. I don't think we have that here. I think we have the foot coming in the door, and I think these guys are pushing their way through. So the timing sort of alleviates his responsibility for that because it was obvious that they were going to come in anyway, right? But the point is, you should be able to read the room in these situations. There's nothing good that can come from giving a statement to the police officer, especially where they've evidence to you that no matter what you say, it's not going to matter. And by the time that Gary gets to a place where these guys are in his house, he should know full well that talking to them is not going to help him in any way. So the very best thing he could do from the beginning is to take up his issue with the mayor and not call the police, right? But certainly by the time we get into the house, it should be clear to Gary that he should not be having a conversation with these police officers. I invoke my right to remain silent, and I refuse to answer any questions without my lawyer present. That's how you invoke your right to counsel and your right to remain silent under the Fifth Amendment. So they need to be sued. Please, Gary, do not let this go. Find an attorney in Connecticut to sue them because that's the only way they learn. Anyway, just wanted to put this on your radar, guys. I hope you got something from it. It gives us an opportunity to talk about the curtilage. Remember, Collins versus Virginia says that even if they had probable cause, they still can't go into this guy's curtilage without a warrant. So they had absolutely no legal right to be there. They absolutely violated the Fourth Amendment. They absolutely violated the Fifth Amendment and probably the First Amendment retaliation as well, all because they didn't like what he had to say and they didn't like the fact that he was shutting down and refused to talk to him anymore. Anyway, I'd like to invite you to head over to Substack, where I sometimes write companion blogs about my videos. If something comes up in the comments that maybe I didn't think about at the time that I recorded it, it's absolutely free to join. You can join on a paid tier if you want to, but that's only for people who want to support the channel monetarily. I don't put anything on Substack that you have to pay for. If you don't want to go to Substack, but you'd like to support the channel monetarily, I'll leave my Venmo and PayPal links both here on the screen as well as in the description. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment on the video. Check out some of the other videos on the channel and leave a comment on there as well. Until I see you again, take care. Always film your interactions with the police and keep your evidence to yourself.